So
You were saying interests. You said cutters. You collect cutters and all this stuff.
I collect cigar lighters and cigar accessories. I'm a nerd about my cigars. I'm a real nerd about it. I tried my first cigar when I was 28. And now that I smoke a lot of cigars, people will accuse me of saying, oh, well, you try to teach values, but you encourage smoking. I don't encourage smoking. These are bad for you. But if you do them, train really hard in the gym, get as fit and strong as possible, at least try to compensate the damage. But yeah, I'm a nerd about my cigars. I smoked my first one when I was 28. I had a car crash, which stopped me from professionally fighting. I had some surgery just a year and a half ago to fix all that damage finally. But I thought, I can't fight anymore. I've always thought cigars looked cool. I'd never smoked a cigarette or any kind of tobacco product up until that point. And I walked into the cigar lounge. I thought, oh, yeah, this big Cuban cigar, let me buy one of these. I had some money even back then when I was 28, and I got this cigar. Got about halfway through and my head was spinning. I don't know how I drove home. I felt horrible. But yeah, now I smoke 2-3 cigars a day sometimes. Some days I'll go without smoking, but the accessories are what make it cool. You know, even here on the table, these have been here since your podcast with Andrew, but it's the lighters I like, the cutters I like. I'm a real nerd about it. Before going out, I'll pack my cigar cases, etc., ready for the club. Yeah.
What's your preference? Like, what do you go to? What's your go-to cigar?
Cigar? My favorite cigar is actually, so you have to liken them to champagne because most people won't know what we're talking about if we do cigars. So I'm going to make it more interesting. People who don't know champagne will say, yeah, give me some Dom Perignon. Every single time. I don't even like champagne. I don't like any champagne. But there are old Frenchmen who know that there's a Veuve Clicquot bottle that's better than the Dom Perignon if it's the right year, etc. So with cigars, everyone goes Cohiba. When you can buy Cubans, when you're outside the United States, Cohiba is the Dom Perignon of cigars. It's got the yellow label. Everyone likes Cohibas. But this is not my favorite brand of cigar. But my favorite is H. Upmann. Now, they have a European name, even though they're Cuban, because a German businessman started that company in 1848. Cohiba was founded in 1966. It has much more history behind the brand, a much better quality cigar in terms of build and flavor, and they're about half the price. But me smoking H. Upmann's is not a budgetary decision. I mean, I'll buy cigars from the 1950s and smoke $6,000, $7,000 cigars just because I enjoy them. But H. Upmann are by far the best brand, hands down.
can I give a quick shout out real quick?
Sure.
I only smoke cigars with 2 people. Their last name is either Tate or Sapala.
Okay.
So shout out to Matt Sapala, by the
He's
way. If
gonna
you're
love
watching
this.
this, you're going to love this. The finest of gentlemen, the Tates and the Sapala. That's it. That's a quick shout out. I very rarely smoke cigars, but if I do, it's with a Tate
Well,
or a
actually,
Sapala.
Matt Sapala did a Minect call with Andrew
right.
last time, I think, using Minect.
Yeah.
And had a good conversation together. So going back to you, spiritually, Andrew comes out recently announcing he's a Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? But in the podcast with us, he said, you're still a Christian.
Yes.
What is that conversation like between the two of you?
Well, you have to understand, if you are a fan of Andrew who watches him on the internet, oh, he's converted to Islam, that's sudden. It wasn't sudden. It was a journey that I saw him go on, which certainly lasted at least 10, 11 months up into the day he reverted, according to Muslims. So I'll use the proper terminology. Up until the day he reverted. I became a Christian about 6 years ago. I spent a lot of my life as an atheist, and I'm so ashamed to say that. I don't like the word. I think it's a bad word nowadays, because I was young and naive and stupid enough to think that people could be perfectly moral and live in a perfect, harmonious society without the need for religion. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I looked around the world, literally, at what people were doing. The massive fetishization, I'll call it, of abortion, the degeneracy in society, and everyone's an atheist. I thought, are these my people? And I was living in Romania, the most Orthodox Christian country in the world. My daughter's maternal grandfather is actually an Orthodox Christian priest. And I picked up the Bible again, and I read it from cover to cover, front to back. Mm-hmm. And that was 6 years ago when I became a Christian. Now, ever since Andrew's reversion, I have not spoken about my religious beliefs because there are teams on Twitter. So you guys get the exclusive. There are literally warring tribes on Twitter of Christian trolls, let's call them, and Muslim trolls, all fighting for my soul. Tristan, what do you believe in? Tristan, and I haven't mentioned my religion ever since Andrew's reversion to Islam. So there are people who think I'm a Muslim. There are people who know I'm a Christian. But for me, the values that are shared between the two faiths are both contrary to everything what Andrew would call the matrix is trying to shove down young people's throats and trying to program people to believe. I think the days of Christians and Muslims murdering each other in crusades and trying to take the holy city of Jerusalem, etc., are over. I think that there are ideological differences, and there are ignorant Christians who will be like, oh yeah, but Islam's a fake religion. But then there are ignorant Muslims who will say, oh, Christianity's a fake religion. Good, you're supposed to think that. They're different religions, and they do teach different things. They have different messengers, and they have slightly different messages. But as a whole, I'm perfectly happy living in a house when my brother is a Muslim, because one, I respect his decision. Two, I understand why he reverted. Three, I understand that we have a common enemy we have an enemy in common, and we have the exact same goals.